Hey folks, this is Punisher 911, and today we're going to take a look at Monday Night Combat.
Okay, so Monday Night Combat is a class-based third-person shooter that takes place in a futuristic world where you are a cloned competitor in a combat-based sport that is similar to tower defense. There are 6 different classes in Monday Night Combat. You can choose between the assault, the tank, the support, the assassin, the gunner, and the sniper. Now each class has a unique set of abilities that increases their potential out on the field. They have 3 usable skills and a passive ability. Let's use the assault class as an example. His 3 skills are being able to throw bombs, which he can then detonate remotely. He can use his jetpack to hover over obstacles, and he can also charge at the enemy, which deals damage and knocks them away. And his passive skill increases his jump height and increases the chance of firing a critical shot, which deals more damage. Every usable skill as well as the passive ability can be upgraded twice, which makes it more powerful or last longer, and in some cases can change the way a skill works. For example, if you play the assault class and you upgrade his charge ability for the second time, rather than just charging through an enemy, he'll perform a special grapple move on the first enemy that he runs into, where he punches them and in a lot of cases sends them flying off the map. What I like about the class abilities is that it adds a lot of different ways to strike at the enemy team, and in some cases you can really surprise enemy players if you use a certain ability at the right moment. For example, I play the assault class a lot, and there have been a number of scenarios where an enemy assassin was running towards me while using their cloak ability, which makes them invisible, and I waited until they got close enough and then used the charge ability, which knocks them back, or if it's upgraded, can kill them outright or punch them straight off the map. As with any class-based game, there have been complaints that some of the classes are overpowered. I disagree with this statement because I've seen every class get called overpowered at some stage or another. I've seen every class played extremely well, and I've also seen every class played in a very poor manner. So if someone's doing really well, I don't think it's the class that's overpowered. Person just knows what they're doing. Now I'm just going to talk about custom classes for a bit. After you earn a certain amount of money in the game, either through single player or online, you can buy a custom class slot. Now what makes custom classes different from the default classes is you get to choose what endorsements they have. And endorsements are basically a boost to certain aspects of your character. There are 3 levels of endorsement: gold, silver and bronze. Gold being the most powerful and bronze being the weakest. For example, the default assassin has a gold speed endorsement, a silver critical shot endorsement and a bronze skill recovery endorsement. And with a custom class you could have, say, more armor as your gold endorsement and speed as your silver if you want to play a slower but tougher assassin. Now this allows players to tailor their preferred class however they like to bring out the most in their character on the playing field. The only problem I have with the custom classes and the selectable endorsements is when you're selecting your endorsements, it's not exactly clear what you are actually getting when you choose a particular endorsement. For example, if you mouse over the armor endorsement, all the description says is armor. There's no information about how much armor you get. There's no actual statistical information available, which strikes me as a little bit odd. Now you can go to the Monday Night Combat wiki and they've got all the statistics for all the different levels of endorsement. So if you want to get a better idea of what you're actually getting, go to there and just see what's what. But it does strike me as a little bit odd that they didn't put some just basic stats for players to get a better idea of what they're actually choosing. Ultimately, I do like the classes in Monday Night Combat, and despite what others may say, I do believe the classes are balanced, and the ability to make custom classes is a good idea, and it really lets the players maximise their potential out on the field. Now let's move on to the gameplay modes. The first of these is Blitz. Now Blitz can be played in single player or co-op up to 4 players, and you have to defend your money ball against waves of enemy bots. On the easier difficulties there's a limited amount of waves, and if you defeat them all you win, but on the 2 hardest difficulties there's an unlimited number of waves, and you just have to defend the money ball for as long as you can before it eventually gets destroyed. You can build 4 different types of turrets to help keep the bots at bay, and when you destroy a bot you earn money, which can be spent on upgrading your character's skills or building and upgrading turrets. Now Blitz only has 2 maps available to play on, and all the difficulty levels except for the last one use the exact same map, with the second map only being available for the last difficulty. The second mode is called Crossfire. This is online only. Like Blitz, you have to defend your money ball from the enemy bots, but now there's an enemy team you have to worry about. And you have to escort your bots to the enemy money ball so they can bring its shields down before you can deal damage to it. At the same time, you also have to prevent the enemy team from doing the same to you. And this works very well as a competitive game mode. As I said, this is online only, and you can have a maximum of 12 players on one game, which may sound a little bit small, but the maps themselves aren't all that large, so keeping the player limit down does make sense, because if there was any more players the maps would get a little bit on the crowded side. Now Crossfire has 5 maps available to play on, so you'll learn all the maps pretty quickly. Blitz and Crossfire are the only 2 gameplay modes available, and all in all the game has just over half a dozen maps. Now despite this, they do work surprisingly well, and because of the fast-paced nature of the game, the maps rotate very quickly before they have a chance to get boring. In saying that though, I would like to see more maps for both Blitz and Crossfire, and I'd like to see what other gameplay modes the developers can come up with, because if they did that, I think it would increase the lifespan of the game. Now let's talk about some of the other things you'll find in the game. The first of these is a combat booster called Juice. Now Juice is a special ability available to all players that restores health, makes you very resistant to damage, you can deal a lot more damage than normal, and you can also move, fire and reload a lot faster than usual. You have to completely fill the juice bar in order to use it, and if you die, you lose all the juice you have collected. Now you collect juice by dealing damage to enemy bots, turrets and players. You can gather juice pickups, and if you play the support class you can heal players and turrets, which will also generate juice. You can also buy a full bar of juice at stations placed around the middle of the map, and that costs around $500. When you activate the juice ability, it lasts for about 10 seconds, but during that 10 seconds you are the most dangerous thing on the field, so you have to use that time wisely. But even if a player is under the effects of juice, they aren't invincible. Gunfights should be avoided because of the amount of damage they can deal and take, but if you can blast the enemy off the map somehow, it will kill them and they'll lose the advantage that they had. The second thing I want to talk about is an item you can pick up while playing the game. Bacon. Now bacon is a very rare item, and when a player picks it up, they get the effects of all the top level endorsements. So you get the gold armor endorsement, the speed endorsement, the critical shot endorsement, you get everything. Now the advantage that bacon brings isn't as powerful as the burst of energy you get from using the juice ability, but it does last until you die. So a very good player or a very cautious player can really make the most of the bacon and make it last until the end of the game. The second item that you'll find are churros. Now these are fairly common items that mainly drop from enemy bots, and when a player picks one up it restores a decent amount of health, and if any of your abilities are on cooldown it reduces the cooldown time by a fifth. Another feature in Monday Night Combat is the ability to taunt. Now when you kill an enemy player, that usually gets you $25 for a standard kill, but if you perform a taunt after killing, you'll get either $100 or $50 depending on how soon you taunt after making a kill. Now the catch to this is you lose all control over your character for the duration of the taunt, so you can be killed quite easily. But if you take damage while you are taunting but don't get killed, you generate extra juice. And you can taunt while under the effects of juice, and that will earn you $200 by default and $300 if you do it after making a kill. So while taunting is dangerous, it can pay off if you're lucky and do it at the right time. Now in Monday Night Combat there are a couple of devices that players can use to get an advantage over the enemy team. The first of these are called ejectors. Now, ejectors cost $50 to use, and when a player activates one of these, all enemies inside the ejector's area of effect will be damaged and pushed away from the center of the area of effect. Now, the damage from the ejector will be enough to cause considerable damage to bots and can usually destroy ones that have been damaged previously. As for enemy players, the ejector can kill them if they're low on health, but at full health, enemy players should be able to survive a blast from an ejector, unless it pushes them off the map. Now, ejectors have a cooldown time of about 30 seconds, so there are plenty of opportunities to use these against your enemies. Now, the second device is called the Annihilator. This costs $250 to use and is always located in the middle of the map. When a player uses one of these, it damages all enemy players on the map and destroys all enemy bots on the map. The only bot that it won't destroy in a single hit is the Jackbot. Now, the Jackbot is the most powerful and the most dangerous bot on the map, but they're pretty rare. But then again, so is the Annihilator. Now, the Annihilator can knock a Jackbot down to 25% health, making it an easy kill. But all other bots instantly destroyed by the Annihilator. So with the ability to wipe out all enemy bots, the Annihilator can mean the difference between victory and defeat, and because of that it has a cooldown time of 3 minutes, and unlike the ejectors that are ready to go at the start of the map, the Annihilator has to go through its cooldown time at the start of the map before it can be used. Now, during the game, the Monday Night Combat mascot called Bullseye will appear on the map, and he'll walk around the map for about 30 seconds, dropping cash, juice pickups, speed pickups, churros, and on the very rare occasion he can drop bacon. And after his time is up, he'll die in a shower of coins. Now, on top of the items he drops, players can also shoot him to earn more money. Each shot that hits him will generate a very small amount of cash, so fast weapons are the best for making money. And you always know where he is on the field because an icon appears on screen showing his location. Now, while Bullseye drops a lot of goodies for the players, going after him can be dangerous as everyone knows where his location is, so there's usually a lot of gunfights going between the teams with Bullseye caught in the middle. And some players get as close as they can to him so they can pick up whatever he drops very quickly. The danger with that is he often wanders near ejectors, and smart players can wait until a bunch of enemy players are around Bullseye and activate a nearby ejector, and if it's near the edge of the map it can blast all the enemy players off the map with a single hit. Now, sometimes Bullseye will be replaced by another character called the Juice Bot. Now, the Juice Bot behaves almost exactly like Bullseye, but he will drop oranges that serve the same purpose as juice pickups. And the Juice Bot can also be shot at for extra cash, and it has the exact same dangers and risks as Bullseye. Now, I know this review's been a little bit all over the place and I haven't been very clear as to what I like and what I don't like, so is Monday Night Combat any good? I think so. While it does have a shortage of maps and gameplay modes, it has enough going on to keep it fun. Before reviewing this, I put about 20 hours into this game, and I still want to play it, which isn't something that I want to do for a lot of other games, especially for the online component. Now, I do want to cover one last thing. You've probably seen some people say Monday Night Combat is nothing more than a rip-off of Team Fortress 2. Now, I'll admit the character classes and the cartoony nature of the game is very reminiscent of Team Fortress 2, to the point where the developers actually went to Valve and asked if they want to do a crossover and have some of the Team Fortress character gear available to wear on the Monday Night Combat characters, and Valve gave them the thumbs up. So it does look very similar, but I do think that Monday Night Combat stands up on its own as its own game, and for $15 on Steam I think you definitely get your money's worth. Here's the final score.